Nicole is a girl after my own heart, finds that her face always looks shiny. How can she overcome this without applying too much powder and looking dull and flaky?
Ah, that's a primer situation, isn't it? She'd probably want something like this. Look, you've got a beautifully matte makeup base here. These products tend to have products in to absorb those oils gradually during the day. Otherwise, she can set with a blot powder.
Yeah, I still find with blot powders they do build and they make your skin look a little bit ashy over time. So I think a primer is probably the best thing for her.
And a blot powder is a kind of... In fact, is this
That's
a blot
one.
powder?
That's
Yeah,
one
that one looks really nice, actually.
They tend to look white and they're colourless, so you can apply it over the day, and it's not going to give you that kind of mask effect. You know, sometimes the more powder you put on, the darker the colour gets, because you've got to build up a pigment where there isn't any in that, so you're not going to get it.
Great.
And also another thing with something like a blot powder is it's quite nice to use with a brush.
Yeah,
because it's going to dust over much nicer than patting it. So if you have to do a lot, a brush is a really nice way of doing it. You're going to get a much lighter finish and it's not as buildable. If you're packing something on, it's going to stick to anywhere that there's an oil. If you're brushing it on, it's just going to softly sweep over and not be as much.
And maybe just use a brush or blush for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, I suppose, with under-eye concealer, because I get very oily under my eyes, could you use a blot powder there as well, just to kind of cover up?
Absolutely.
With a brush?
Yeah,
definitely.
Small brush, that will do the trick.
Brilliant. Oh, Fiona. Oh, no, Fiona, what's she thinking? She says she has freckles and she wants to know, should she blend them or hide them? Freckles are beautiful.
Freckles are beautiful. Don't hide them.
Keep them, Fiona. Absolutely.
I mean, I used to paint freckles on because I wanted them so
I
much.
still
we
do
do in the
sometimes.
summer. Because I want to be youthful.
Yeah, because it gives a really youthful look. I love it.
You know, but, you know, some people have loads of freckles and it's a real issue to them. But I think, personally, I'd try to embrace it. But you can get foundations that will cover and won't look huge, you know, like you've got too much on. But, again, if you are going to try and use a heavier foundation, don't use it all over the face. Just use it where you need it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just looks like you've got a mask on and you're trying to hide something, which is so much worse than, you know, letting it look more natural. Don't try and hide.
So you don't
much.
think concealer on each freckle, you think a kind of just a very light... Okay.
But, I mean, personally, if I was Fiona, I would Google the images from Becca Cosmetics, because they always use freckly models and they're so beautiful and so inspiring, and that would make me want to keep my freckles.
I would do anything. Fiona, give me your freckles. Oh, Nick, this is for you. So this is another Fiona, and she's newly pregnant. You're about to have your baby. Her skin has completely changed colour and condition. She's always been fairly blemish-free, but now she's getting breakouts and blemishes in the T-zone and much oilier, and she's not sure how to do her makeup properly anymore. What does she do?
Firstly, don't stress. It's only probably the first trimester, so it's not gonna last forever, and I promise you your skin will look amazing in a few months and you'll be like, oh my god, I look so glowing and healthy. So don't stress. I got breakouts at the beginning, and I would say don't try and change too much, because people panic and they try and change too much, and then their skin's like, what's going on? All these new hormones, and now you're trying to change everything. It's not really so much you can do. Maybe invest in a better concealer, just so that she feels a bit better. But it won't be for long. Because
then you go through the beautiful glowing stage.
Yeah, and then you get massive. And you don't even care. You don't even want to get dressed, so you don't even care about how you look. So
how's your skin? Obviously, you're right at the end stage of pregnancy. How have you found it now? I
found that it's a lot drier, which quite often happens. With my son, my first child, I got a lot of eczema. So it does change it, because they're just sapping every little bit out of you. But, you know, it is only for 9 months, and you kind of don't care because you're just so happy that you're nurturing something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But, yeah, I think... Just
embrace.
Yeah, just embrace it, and you can get a good concealer, and it is a really hard time because you just want to feel amazing. And
I would say don't give up on putting your makeup on, though, because it's a really important time to make sure you keep your confidence levels up. You know, and it's very easy especially in the first trimester, in fact, because
you're not showing.
Exactly. Before anyone can see that you are pregnant, you just feel like you look fat, even though you probably don't.
Yeah, and you walk around trying to push your belly out so that people know you're pregnant.
Really?
You're like, I'm not just getting fat, I'm pregnant. You know, it's so funny. It's so strange.
Actually, my mum said that she used to do that with me.
And then you get so massive, you're like, oh, just get out. I want to be myself again. You know, it's funny. It's a strange thing.
So so maybe it's just kind of do whatever makes you feel really good. Are there any kind of really good concealers that you can recommend?
I love MAC Studio Finish Concealer in a little pot. Gives such a great coverage. I actually do take this with me, my number 7 blemish stick, because I like it through my brows as well, through my brow bone. Not really.
For highlighter.
Yeah, I love it and I've got 2 shades. I've got one that's really light that I use as my highlighter, and then one that I keep with me to conceal my blemishes. Because again, if I have my pot, I have to use my fingers, and I get it everywhere because I'm just messy. So this is great because you can just dab it on.
It's perfect because you don't need an applicator, you know, to apply that over a blemish.
So
That's really good.
they are
Very good idea. But then, of course, you need a sharpener.
Yes, but they are easily accessible.
Yeah, true.
Right. Liz. Oh, Liz wants to know the best way to cover redness in cheeks. A lot of women get that, don't they?
I think the key with that is not to try and over cover. So I have very high redness in my cheeks, and I tend to use a moisturising concealer over my cheeks. So I'll do my foundation all over. I won't go heavier with my foundation. I just want my foundation to look quite light, and then on my cheeks I'll run a really light moisturising concealer just over the cheek areas, buff it in so it gives me that little bit more coverage where it's needed, and it will last a little bit better.
I get a bit confused. I was going to say,
I'll give you a little quick tip on colour correcting. So a green colour corrector, this is a good one because it's a primer, so it's going to be very, very light and sheer. Now, it's not going to make you look like Kermit the Frog or anything like that, but what it does, it's got a very subtle green tinge to it that knocks the red back. Red and green are opposite on the colour wheel, so if you put them next to each other, they complement each other. But if you put them over the top of each other, they cancel each other out. Okay. So that's the point. With a purple one, it's going to knock out any yellow in the skin, so any sallowness. You can probably see I'm quite yellow, so I could probably benefit from... Well, I have, around my mouth, I'm a little bit more yellow in tone. I think that's just something that happens as you get older, you know. I don't know, in and out of the sun.
You can't notice it so much now,
no,
more
you
when you've got
probably
no
can't,
makeup
but
on.
definitely when I've got a bit of a tan, it comes out more. So something with a little bit of purple on will just knock that back so that I can put my foundation over the top.
So if you were using one of those, what order would you apply? So would you do moisturiser then that, or you wouldn't need moisturiser?
I would put moisturiser on before that, but it depends on the skin type. I'm really dry. If you're oily, you might not want to. Okay. It's kind of a play and see how you go with it.
And not too much, I take it.
Very small amount. Very small just amount. Where you need it.
And again, for people with dark circles, they'd go for a slightly more yellow or orangey tone one, because it counts out the blue and under the eyes. So
really, I've never used one of these. I'm going to try.
It's really clever. It's, you know, people think, oh, it's just makeup, but it's actually quite to do with colour theory and art and everything. You know, it's not just... When
you trained as makeup artist, were you taught all that side of things, the kind of science behind it all?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Right. Now we have some questions from listeners who, so this is kind of like changing things a bit, and they want to make the most of their makeup just to keep feeling good. So we've got, so I suppose, it's kind of a bit like me. I'm in my 30s now, and, I think my skin is definitely changing. It's a bit drier in places. I'm noticing the first signs of wrinkles. And Alexandra, I think, very much is doing this as well. She says, what is your best overall anti-aging tip?
Oh,
that's a big question.
Anti-aging tip is drink loads of water. That's my first one. My second one is wear your sunglasses a lot so you don't squint too much. And then my third one is obviously skincare is really massively important. Moisturise regularly.
Okay, have you got any tips?
I would say, moisturise regularly, stay out the sun, don't use sunbeds, drink lots of water, but even if you have an oily skin, you still need to moisturise your skin.
Okay.
Worst thing you can do is smoke.
Yeah, it's the worst.
I know nobody wants to hear that. They don't want to hear it, but it is true. Whenever I've done someone's makeup and they've been a smoker for a long time, you can really see the damage on the skin.
I think, what about if, so you have smoked for a long time, you've been really naughty, you've sunbathed, and your skin's looking a little bit blur. What do you do then? Can literally drinking lots of water change things for you, and a change in diet?
You can turn it around. Yeah, absolutely. Diet's going to make a huge difference to that. So antioxidants, like fruit with antioxidants in, like raspberries,
goji
strawberries, all of that kind of thing is going to make a huge difference. If you did that for 6 weeks, you'd see a difference. For
We
sure.
just learnt about this recently,
Yeah.
actually,
Really?
didn't we? Yeah, it was really interesting.
And I started doing it, but
and she started doing it. I'm like, no, just chocolate for me at
You're
the moment.
pregnant, you're all
just
right.
chocolate. But berries that are grown in the UK are really good because they're not as sweet. Do you know what I mean? They've not got as much. Like grapes aren't as good for you.
because they've got a lot of sugar in.
Okay. And do you go organic when you do this?
I do. Yeah.
She's proper on the diets at the moment.
Yeah. No, I'm really careful with organic because of, you know, you just don't know, do you? As the current news is showing us, you just don't know. So let's just go organic.
And just again on the health front, juicing. What do you think of I've just got a juicer and I started doing it. I'm aware that the sugar content is really high when you juice, but I think that helps my skin. Again, just kind of juicing strawberries and blueberries.
I
and all
think
that.
that's got to be good for you.
Has to be.
Actually, we were
blueberries
talking
are
to a
meant to be so good.
nutritionist, and she said orange juice is not as good as berries because it has so much sugar in it that it's actually kind of a bit counterproductive. But if you do all your berries, you'll be good.
So lots of water, lots of berries and antioxidants.
And curly kale, she was saying, and broccoli.
Yeah.
So green.
And then
as
also,
well.
if you have been smoking for a long time, and you then just start using radiance boosting moisturisers and foundations and things, and that's really going to give you a pep up.
Is there one of them here? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, there is.
Instant Radiance. Radiance boost for tired and stressed skin. So that's the kind of thing.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Anna, this is an interesting one. So we know that skin tone can obviously change from season to season. Cara's been in touch and she just wants to know, does it change as you get older?
What, skin tone?
Skin tone, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You know, quite often as you get older, your skin goes slightly redder. I don't know why, it just does. I suppose it's thinning out slightly, so it's going. So it is important to always be going and getting your match-made service done, getting yourself matched up, because it will change constantly. And there's 4 seasons, so 4 times a year. It's not hard to pop in, have it done.
And I mean, how do you think in a lifetime for a woman, how often do you think our skin changes? Because it changes obviously when you get pregnant, and obviously, I suppose the minute you become an adolescent, that's the first big change, isn't it? Then you get pregnant, and then in your 30s, 40s, 50s, how often?
It constantly changes.
Yeah.
But I would say you could change your foundation, well, obviously when you need it, but probably every 10 years.
Okay.
There'd be one for you for every 10 years. So you've got like your tinted moisturisers for when you're starting out, the ones where you don't really want much coverage, and then maybe later on you might want to go onto your anti-aging and then onto your mature foundations.
Number 7 actually have quite a good way of breaking it down, because they have like your Stay Perfect foundation for when you want a little bit more. They've got the tints for when you're starting foundation. Then they've got the Instant Radiance, which is the one that I wear for when you want a little glow. And then it goes on to Lift and Illuminate, which I think is my next step that I need to start doing now. So it's still got my illuminator
I think
in.
Lift
but
and Illuminate is probably a little bit further on than
Oh,
where
do you
you are
think?
at the moment. I
I
it's
feel
probably
like I'm there.
more like where I am,
well, you've
if
only
I'm
got
honest.
2 years on me.
But yeah, I mean, actually, I just noticed on the bottles it actually says here, this is for younger looking skin, and they're all kind of labelled, this is for firmer, even skin. So definitely, you know, you can tell from the bottle what there is there.
And I suppose, I mean, today, so many of our skincare products like foundation have amazing ingredients in them to actually kind of help with the state of your skin too. So kind of moisturisers and foundation in one, which is really useful.
Yeah, definitely, especially for
Mums
mums
on the run.
go. You know, 2-in-1 products are brilliant.
Do you use them? Because you're both mummies.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to have like a foundation that's got an SPF in it can make a massive difference.